So buddy, it's Jim. What the Jim? And let's go ahead and do the review for the latest James Bond film, the 25th James Bond film, No Time to Die. But before we get started with the review, this is going to be no spoilers, so you don't have to have seen no Time to Die to watch this video. I just saw it on Saturday, so I thought we'll go ahead and do the review for it today because it is my most anticipated film for this year. It was, and it definitely did not disappoint. And you can also let me know what you thought of the film in the comment section below. But no spoilers as another spoiler review. And one more thing before we get started, I'm going to take these glasses off. That's better. And that being said, let's get started with the good. So like I said, it's the latest film in the Bond series, 25th one. It's Daniel Craig's last Bond film, and he's also at least done 5 Bond films. I will also rank all those 5 Daniel Craig films after this. I've also done a movie review for all of them, so you can go ahead and watch them after you watch this if you want. And now we'll get started with the good. So you don't have to really have seen any of the other Daniel Craig Bond films to see this one. However, the story might be a little bit more confusing for you. You might really not know what's going on 100% with the story if you haven't seen any of the others. So if you want to know more about the story, then I recommend to watch all the Daniel Craig films. But if you're not fussed about that, then you could just go in without watching any of those other ones. And now we'll move on to the action. As far as the action's concerned, I thought it was done brilliantly. I feel like every Bond film, the action is done very, very well. I don't think there's any Bond film I've seen I didn't think the action was that great. I really enjoyed it here. It was nice to see the Aston Martin getting involved in the action as well. It was just really exciting, really intense with the action sequences, and that's why I watch Bond films, is for the action, and this one definitely did not disappoint. It was really, really enjoyable, and now we'll move on to the characters for this. As far as the characters are concerned, you got returning characters with James Bond and Madeline. You've also got Moneypenny, M, and Q. They're all returning characters. However, there is a new James Bond called Nomi, so she's a new character. Of course, there's a new villain played by Rami Malek, but Nomi, I actually thought she was a really good character. I kind of wanted more of her, to be honest. And I thought that she was very good in it. I also thought that Rami Malek as a villain. I think he was a very good villain. I didn't feel like there was enough of him. I would have liked to have seen him a lot more in the film. But for what we did get, I did think he was intimidating. And I also thought it was quite an interesting and compelling villain as well. I'm also just a fan of Rami Malek as an actor, and I think he did a brilliant performance in this film. In terms of the relationships, I think James Bond and Madeline, their relationship, I think is even better than it was with Spectre. The relationship with Spectre was good, but I thought this one, I really buy their relationship together. And I thought that it was amazing acting with those two together. I think James Bond is just really enjoyable to see him interacting with these other characters, see him interacting with Moneypenny, Q, M. He's just, I just feel like he's very good at having relationships with all of these other characters, and it's definitely one of the standouts here as well. I also thought the story was quite good. I don't watch the James Bond films for the story. I don't really feel like there's been any story that really amazed me besides the one in Skyfall. But this story I did think was quite good. There are a few questions I've still got with some of the plots, but overall I think the story was good. Could it have been better? Probably. But it wasn't a bad story. It wasn't an okay story. I think it was quite a good story. It had quite a few twists and turns here and there. You're going to expect that with James Bond. And I think there's a lot more twists and turns, I think, towards the end of the film. That's really all I'm going to say there before we get too spoilery. So we'll talk more about the villain. I do think he is one of the better Bond villains. Again, it would have been nice to have seen more of him. I felt like he didn't really appear much in the beginning or the middle part of the film. And at the end, I felt like he was in the film a lot more, which was great to see. That's really all I'm going to say in terms of that villain. Isn't my favourite that Daniel Craig's faced? I'm not 100% sure. I think my favourite's still the villain from Skyfall, but I did really enjoy this villain, and now we'll move on to the, I think that's pretty much it for the good. There actually are a couple more things I want to mention for the good. So I thought it had a lot of emotional scenes, which was great to see, and I think Daniel Craig nailed those emotional scenes, and it kind of got to me as well. A few of the scenes. I also thought it was paced rather well. I feel like with a lot of these Bond films, it's quite slow, and parts are just find a bit boring. I think this one did have a couple of them, but I think mostly I think it was paced rather well. I also thought it was a good length as well. It was rather long, the duration, but it went quite quick. It only felt like a couple of hours. The film's over a couple of hours, I think. So maybe it could have been a little bit shorter, but I don't really think it's too much of an issue. And now we'll move on to the bad for the Not film. Really too much to really say about the bad, just that the villain part, the fact that it wasn't in it much in the beginning and the middle part of the film. And I think there were too many characters that introduced in this film, and I think it created too many plot lines as well. I think there was just far too many main plots going on, and I think there was far too many characters as well. Quite a few new characters, and it just can get a bit too much sometimes. It can get a bit overwhelming, but that's really all I've got to say for the bad. Now I'll move on to the verdict for the film. So I recommend this film to people who like action movies and for people who like James Bond as a whole. If you're a fan of James Bond, you of course got to watch this, and I'd recommend to watch it in the cinema on the big screen. And I rate this film 8.5 out of 10. It's my second favourite Bond film in the Daniel Craig James Bond series, and now we'll go ahead and rank them from my number 5 being my least favourite to my number 1 being my favourite. And bear in mind, this is my opinion, and we'll get started with number 5. So for me, number 5 is Quantum of Solace from 2008. I'd rate the film as 6.5 out of 10. It was an okay Bond film, and when I did the review for it, I rated it 7.5. But the reason why I'm rating it at 6.5 now, it's just the more I think about it, the more I think it was just an okay film. I didn't think there was that much that really stood out to me. And my number 4 is Spectre from 2015, and I'd rate it a 7 out of 10, and I rated an 8 out of 10 in the review of the film. 8. Well, that's a little bit too high for me. I don't really know why I rated an 8 out of 10. Looking back, it was a good James Bond film. It wasn't a great James Bond film, though. And my number 3 is probably going to be number 1 for most people, is Casino Royale from 2006. 8 out of 10, and my opinion on the film has not changed. I rated it an 8 out of 10 in the review. If I rewatch it, it could be 8.5, and it could be my second favourite. But at the moment, it's my third favourite. And number 2 is, of course, No Time to Die from this year, 2021, 8.5 out of 10. And number 1 is Skyfall from 2012, 9 out of 10. An amazing Bond film and my favourite James Bond film so far. I'm not sure if anything's going to beat it. Goldfinger, that Sean Connery Bond film, is definitely close. In my opinion, the film has not changed. I rated it a 9 in the review. And that's really all I've got to say for this. Which James Bond's my favourite? I do love Sean Connery as a James Bond. I've not seen all of his films. I've seen about half of You Only Live Twice, and I've not seen Diamonds Are Forever. They're the only two I've not seen with him in. But I do think this film has made me think that maybe Daniel Craig is the best James Bond. I don't really know out of those two. I think for this video at the moment we'll say Daniel Craig, but it might end up being Sean Connery again. But I think at the moment it is Daniel Craig, and that's it for the movie review of No Time to Die. I'm ranking all these Daniel Craig Bond films. What a series it's been. I've really enjoyed it from beginning to end. It's had its low points, but definitely had its high points. The action was really enjoyable. It had some really enjoyable characters. They had some great relationships, all of them. And that's really all I've got to say for this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, ciao.